engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Good evening. It's Eric Erickson here with Atlanta's Evening News on WSB. It is, well, almost 10 after the hour. We should do another quick check of radar around here. I do believe the Atlanta area is, well, clear. You got rain south of Locust Grove, but the rest of it, clear until you get north of Canton. I can't wait. I am headed to the North Georgia mountains, north of Blue Ridge this weekend to see the eclipse. I cannot wait. We are in the countdown to the eclipse. We are 6 days away. I can't wait. Solar eclipse. You know, when you get to the very North Georgia line, you get into Tennessee, North Carolina, you get the 100% zone. In Atlanta, you're only going to get like 95 to 97% of the eclipse, which means you won't be able to see the complete eclipse and all of its effects. So we're headed way north to make sure we can see the whole thing. You get up to Nashville, where we were planning on going, it's almost 3 minutes of total solar eclipse. North Georgia is only going to be about 35 to 40 seconds, just because of the way the angle of the sun and moon are. Now, what's going on out there today? The president's press conference, the anger. Marco Rubio just tweeting, and I think he's right, that if you give the white supremacists only 50% of the blame, they're going to accept that as being given a pass. No one would be in Charlottesville protesting but for the white supremacists, and I think you need to concede that point because it's true. I personally, though, don't have a problem with the president calling out the other side. I think he needed to name the white supremacists on Saturday, though. He needed to name them. No one would have, this wouldn't have happened but for them. Now, that being said, though, why is all of this happening? You know, I kind of went into this the other day on Friday with presenting to you the idea that a lot of this is people trying to find moral certainty at a time when everything seems uncertain. When Western civilizational truths seem uncertain, people fill the vacuum where God was. God is no longer there for a lot of these people, and they fill the vacuum, and they want to be the grand says who. But there is additionally something else here, and Barack Obama put his finger on it in 2008 and did a very good job with it. You see, his campaign recognized, and part of the reason they got Organizing for Action and then Organizing for America off the ground was because there are a lot of people who want to be a part of a cause that is greater than themselves, but they no longer go to church. They no longer carry the cross, but they still want to carry a cause on their shoulders. They no longer have the cross, but they want a cause. And so what his campaign did in 2008 is they recognized if they gave people a missional zeal for a cause, they would be like Christian missionaries. They would be committed to a cause come what may. And so Barack Obama intentionally would give these speeches with very soaring rhetoric to make people feel like they were at a religious rally, at a revival. And it would draw them in and give them a sense of purpose connected to a political cause, no longer connected to a cross and a church, for people who weren't churched anymore. And it worked. It really did. People committed to him in a cult of personality. And I don't mean that as a pejorative. It really was about Barack Obama. It was not about the Democratic Party. They did not turn out for the Democratic Party. They did not turn out for Hillary Clinton. They turned out for Barack Obama because of what he did. And now we're seeing this in other ways. And I'll get into that. But first, let's go check with Doug Turnbull and check traffic.
Sorry, Eric, all sorts of stuff going on here. 613 in the Skycopter. I'm about to report to a vehicle on its side. We've got it on the WSB Jam Cam 20 eastbound between the downtown connector and Boulevard. And I see the jam on the connector south getting on to I-20 right now. I'll be up over this and have more in under 6 minutes. 285 south. We just sent a gridlock alert via our Triple T Traffic Alert app, both a push notification and an audio report about a wreck that's still in the right lane. 285 south, the interim at North Lane Parkway. About an hour to get there just from Georgia 400. Now a new stall blocking a lane on the outer of 285 southbound between South Cobb Drive and Hollowell Parkway. That stalls in the second left lane. Delays for that. Back to Georgia 400, Eric.
Thank you, sir. So what's happening now, particularly on the left, but it's not just the left, it's these white nationalists as well. They don't have a father at home. They don't have a father figure, many of them. And they're looking for a sense of belonging, and they don't have a church. This is in part a failure of church in America. You know, as the liberal churches have collapsed in America, they collapsed because they turned from the cross to the cause. They turned to the here and the now and not the eternal. They didn't give people a sense of soul worth. They were so busy feeding the body, they forgot to feed the soul. And that's one reason that liberal churches in America collapsed. But there was a tenet of that, and it is the social action, the social cause that can be tied into the cross and get people motivated. And the liberal churches failed at it because ultimately they were peddling a religion they didn't believe in. That is why you have Christian denominations like the Presbyterian Church USA and other religions like the Episcopalians in this country starting to collapse under their own weight. They don't believe in the religions they peddle. And yes, I don't consider Episcopalians Christians anymore. The PCUSA is headed out the door as well. But they don't believe their religion. They don't really believe Christ died. They think it's metaphor. They don't really believe he rose again from the dead. They think it's metaphor. They don't really believe in the idea of original sin. They've embraced a bunch of heresies. And as a result, people aren't going there anymore because why go where you don't, the people in the pulpit don't believe? There was an amazing survey a while back that 80% of people going to liberal churches believe in miracles, and less than 40% of the pastors in the pulpit do at liberal churches. So people don't go anymore. Well, where do they go? Well, they go to places that have picked up the cross in different forms where they actually believe their religion. And the religion of the day, of the zeitgeist, is a social justice warrior religion where you may not have an eternity, they may not believe in eternity, but they believe you have to leave the here and now better than when you found it. And that is their cause. And karma is wrapped up into this. And the future generations are wrapped up into this. And they've woven a religion out of the absence of religion. And they have a belief and they have a zeal, and people have gotten involved with it. And it's on the left and it's on the right. It is with the social justice warriors, the Antifas, the Black Lives Matters on the left. It is with the nationalists, the alt-right guys on the right. None of whom are church. They're both two sides of one coin. They are seeking to fill a void, and what they're doing is they're building communities of interest. None of these people know their next door neighbor. They don't really care about the individual next door. They drive past the homeless man sitting on the side of the road down the street, and they view themselves as focused on a greater good, on a greater cause, on a greater mission. And it is whatever their cause can be. It is tearing down monuments. It is engaging in right think, purging wrong think, purging the sins of the past as they define it. With the white nationalists, it is propping up a cultural heritage that they believe is based on the white community and the strength of the white community. And the white community is under attack, and so they've got to stand strong. And they believe the white community is under attack because they are the reaction to the action of the social justice warriors who believe that the white male has been oppressive and has to be shut down, and we've got to revise history. You would not have the rise of the white supremacists in this country in the 21st century if you did not see it first preceded by the social justice warriors. But you would not have the social justice warrior rise if they were not preceded by the Klan and the KKK and the Jim Crow laws of the 60s. This is all a circle, and it reverberates, and it goes back and forth. It ping-pongs. Action and reaction. And occasionally a third force interacts on those two forces and shuts them down. And that is the common sense of the American people, which right now is on the sidelines as these two battle it out. But as they battle it out and as they grow and as they take on religious fervor, they become more dangerous. To quote Lord Varys from Game of Thrones, this ends with fire and blood. There will be violence in the streets. And there will be violence in the streets because once all the Confederate statues are gone, the cause is not won. Because once all the Confederate statues are gone, then they have to purge the people who stood in the way of taking down the Confederate statues, because those people will be labeled evil. And once those people are gone, then they'll turn on themselves. And those who urged restraint will be evil, and they will have to be gone. But it won't be so easy as it is in other places, because they'll have the white supremacists battling back, pushing back, and you'll have more and more conservatives who loathe the white supremacists keeping quiet, who will no longer stand up and shout against the white supremacists because they're going to be labeled bigots anyway by the social justice warriors, so why bother? They'll start rooting for injuries, not for the right. not for the right cause. That's what's happening in this country. It is a breakdown in community. People have forgotten their next door neighbor. They've forgotten the poor man down the street. They've forgotten their church, and they found the cause. And the cause is greater than themselves, and the cause is greater than having to worry about their next door neighbor. And the cause can be organized online in right-thinking communities where everyone agrees the same thing, and anyone who disagrees is shut out of the community and labeled the enemy. And until we get back to our local community and our local civic institutions and our local churches and our local next door neighbors and breaking bread with each other in the real world, it's only going to get worse. And yeah, it is going to get worse.
Eric Erickson and Atlanta's Evening News.
Who is that?